The Senate Judiciary Committee held a hearing on reproductive rights focused on broad protections for in vitro fertilization. Potential restrictions on the treatment have become a political issue after the Alabama Supreme Court ruled last month that frozen embryos could be considered children. That caused some facilities to halt IVF services in the state to sort through the legal implications. Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, who has used IVF, testified on Wednesday.
Attempting to rewrite state constitutions and laws to define a fertilized egg as a human child, which is what the embryonic personhood crusade achieved in Alabama, is an affront to the millions of aspiring parents who struggle to conceive.
CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us now to talk through a variety of things happening on the Hill. Let's start here, Scott. Is there a possible bipartisan coalition supporting IVF?
There is. It's just a matter of how large and how much leverage they have, John. The U.S. House and the U.S. Senate have both put forward Democratic-sponsored bills that would provide federal protections for IVF, preventing any state from encroaching on the rights of women to undergo IVF, recognizing its vital nature and recognizing the prominence of the issue. The House bill has just secured its first two Republican co-sponsors, an indication of progress. Two upstate New York Republicans who say they've been hearing about it from their constituents and want to provide federal protections. But of course, you need the leadership to put something on the floor to ensure it can pass into law. In the Senate, well, Democrats control the floor, and they did get a bill securing 50 states' protection for IVF, and it was blocked by Republicans. So there's a coalition that's forming. It's small right now in terms of the number of Republicans, but John, it does give the sponsors of these bills some optimism before the end of the year.
Moving to another Capitol Hill hearing, former Rudy Giuliani associate Lev Parnas testified before the House Oversight Committee Wednesday. What happened there?
Well, it was a 7-hour-long hearing. Thankfully, they gave us breaks to get snacks. This is the 15th month of the House Republicans' impeachment inquiry, or at least the steps toward the impeachment inquiry, which was more recently launched into President Biden. They called a former Biden family business partner, Tony Bobulinski. The man right there is Lev Parnas. He's the Democrats' witness at this hearing. They went back and forth, with Bobulinski accusing the Bidens of trying to enrich themselves with their name, and Parnas accusing others associated with Trump of misconduct. This type of back and forth has been consistent during this investigation, including when it escalated into an impeachment inquiry, John. But here's the bottom line as the day ended. The chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer of Kentucky, says he will now try to call President Biden to be a witness before Congress, a provocative, if not farcical, notion that the president would come to sit before a House Republican committee. But Democrats say it's an indication, John, that Republicans haven't really laid a glove on President Biden right now, which they argue makes this impeachment inquiry a dead end.
Hasn't been done, I think, a president showing up on Congress since Ford testifying about the pardon of Nixon, I believe. Anyway, on to the third topic on our roundabout here. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the Senate Republicans by video Wednesday. What did he say?
According to the senators who were in the room, the Republican senators in the room, and the accounts they gave CBS News after, there was some mention by Prime Minister Netanyahu of displeasure with the criticism he received last week on the Senate floor from Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and President Biden's seeming endorsement or congratulatory nature of the comments he made about Chuck Schumer's denunciation of the horrors going on in Gaza. That being said, the Prime Minister is also trying to advocate for more aid and more resources from a U.S. Congress, which is paralyzed on everything. Israel aid is on the to-do list. I think he'd like to see it a little bit higher.
Scott MacFarlane in Washington. Thank you so much, Scott.